Hello everyone, and welcome to the new video. I am your host, your only god. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Apex Explained, and if you're enjoying my content so far, I appreciate the support, so don't forget to hit that like button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the action and adventure. I upload every Monday and Friday between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also find me on Twitch Tuesdays from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Fridays starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a link in the description below for my Twitch channel. Now, let's dive into Episode 3 of Apex Explained. Today we're taking a look at Gibraltar. And with this video I thought I'd take a slightly different approach than the last one and try to organize the information a little bit better for you. In the background we'll have some gameplay, as you see, and at certain points I'll talk about the gameplay footage as reference. So here we go. Gibraltar's real name is Gibraltar. He's a male, he's 30 years old, 265 pounds, 6'4". His homeworld is Solace. Now, these worlds, they're not really consequential to this game. They're part of the larger Titanfall universe, but still, facts are facts. He's a defensive legend. His tactical ability, that's the L1 ability, is Dome of Protection. His passive ability is his gun shield. His defensive bombardment is his ultimate ability. And he has a passive perk called Fortified, which allows him to take 15% less damage from every attack and makes him immune to slow effects from weapon fire. Now let's take a look at his biography from the Wiki page. I'll put a link in the description. Gibraltar is a gentle giant with a wild side. The son of two Sarahs, Search and Rescue Association of Solace, S-A-R-A-S, volunteers, he has always been skilled at getting others out of dangerous situations that are common in the Outlands. However, he only began to understand the value of protecting others when he and his boyfriend stole his father's motorcycle, took it on a joyride, and got trapped by a deadly mudslide. His parents saved them, and his father lost an arm in the process. Gibraltar has never forgotten that sacrifice and has devoted his life to helping those in need. The Apex games didn't change that, but they changed what it meant. Many of Gibraltar's friends and colleagues have competed in the games for extra money, fame, and glory over the years, and some never came home. Gibraltar joined to keep them safe, and, for the first time, his skills as a rescuer and his rebellious nature worked together. He's now become an icon in the Apex games, putting himself in the line of fire to protect his squad and send his opponents running for cover. That's a great backstory, and as I mentioned in the last episode, here we have another LGBTQ character. I just love the diversity in this game. Now, let's have a look at the gameplay here for a moment and talk about a couple of things. And then we'll get back to a little bit more in-depth look at Jib and his abilities. As we turn our attention to the gameplay footage, we're about to get into a fight, and I want to point out a few things. I spot an enemy in the distance, and I'm trying to get a closer look and see how many of them there are and which direction they're headed, because it looks like they're headed toward us in general. Now, when I aim down sights, or ADS, you can see the passive ability, the gun shield, go up, and you see on the screen the control hint showing how to deactivate it if you'd like. You might do this if you didn't want the enemies to see you, since that gun shield is super easy to spot from a long distance, just like Jib's Dome of Protection is. But in this case, I didn't care if they spotted us. They didn't even seem to be looking for anyone in the area. Just a note, that control hint you saw for pressing down on the left joystick to zoom was for the optics on my weapon, and as you saw, I did take advantage of that zoom. I got one guy down, and I go to finish him off, and I'm going to be on the lookout for his teammate, the Octane, to come and try and save him or get his banner. That doesn't happen. They left him to die like he was yesterday's trash. Gotta love teammates, right? So after I finish him, I loot his box, and then I look for a nice corner to hide in and replenish my shields. So let's take a look at how that works. As you can see, the quick menu in the lower left corner next to my character banner is already set to shield cells. I generally keep it set to that unless I don't have any, or if I feel like I'm about to get in a fight that might not go quickly, and I've got some shield batteries. then I'll set the quick menu to those. They heal more at one time, but take a little longer than a single shield cell. So in a fight, it's a judgment call you have to make for yourself whether or not you've got time for a battery or if you need to use cells. Since my armor didn't take much damage here, I only need to use one cell, so I just press up on the D-pad to activate it. Now, in the next clip, we're going to look at the ultimate, Defensive Bombardment. And in this case, I use it for its intended purpose, in defense of my teammate. He has run ahead alone, as randos are wont to do, and gotten himself into trouble. I run toward him and I throw my ult as far as I can toward him, basically trying to land it on him to create a zone of protection. Let's take a look.
Did we lose the rest of that team?
Looks that way. Whoa. Now I'm going to try and circle right and push forward to give him some cover fire, but I have to be careful to stay out of my own ultimate because it will in fact damage me. It will not damage my teammates, but it will stun them unfortunately, hence I'm trying to get to a good position to cover my teammate if he needs it. Once I get into position, I see the enemies have run away from my ultimate like rats off a sinking ship, and my teammate has fallen all the way back to the other teammate. So now, thanks rando, I'm the one who's too far forward and vulnerable. Better turn around and regroup. So, a few tips with defensive bombardment. Anyone caught in the radius is stunned, and if they're not your teammates, they're damaged as well. So, if you put the ultimate on top of yourself, or close enough to be a concern, use the Dome of Protection right after you throw the marker grenade. Don't put the dome down first because you run the risk of its time running out before the strike ends if you do. If you're in battle and you just have to revive a teammate, run to the downed teammate, throw out your ultimate right at your own feet, then throw down the dome at your feet as well. This will give you the cover to revive. Ideally, you'd have a lifeline with you who has fast revive and can do that job while you watch for anyone brave enough to run through your ult and try to attack. The lifeline will also be able to provide healing with the dock drone, which can get your downed teammate back on their feet even faster. Just a quick note here about the gameplay. You'll notice when we kill the last person in this fight, Bloodhound's voice line. They said, "The last of that enemy squad has perished." The Legend's in-game chatter is sometimes really useful. Earlier, when I downed the guy I finished off under the broken bridge, Gibraltar said, immediately after I called it out in comms, that I had downed an enemy. So, this game is one of the only games I feel like you can play decently as a team without voice comms. The game just gives you so much in-game communication option, including the game-triggered voice lines of the Legends. Now, let's look at Dome of Protection. In this fight, there's a lot of open space between me and the enemies, and we're trying to push up the hill toward the respawn beacon so we can bring back our teammate, so I throw out the dome to block the damage and give me a chance to get a little closer to the enemy, and my teammate time to catch up to me as well. You can see the enemies and I sort of dance in and out of the shield using it to mitigate damage as we fight. This tactic didn't work out since my teammate and I were not able to focus the same targets, and I ended up getting double teamed. So be aware of how you deploy that shield. It can work for you, or it can work against you, like it did here. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Apex Explained. If there's a legend you're excited about seeing in a future episode, let me know in the comments who it is and I'll bump them up in the lineup. If there are any questions you have that I didn't answer in this video, leave a comment or join the live stream and ask me there. So, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. And as always, good game.
This is where it ends.